Well, we've gotten lucky on this particular leopard because we got some insider info. But I think all is right with the world because, well, we're with the leopard and Taylor's with elephants, and that generally makes Taylor happy and makes me happy. But for those of you that don't know who I am, Taylor mentioned, my name is Tristan, and on camera I have Marcel this afternoon. And the leopard that you are looking at currently is Thandi. She is fast asleep. She was seen earlier in the day, funny enough, in a tree off of the main road, and so we came down here to try. It's in a really tricky spot because it's right up against the Mulawanini on Chitwa, where it's kind of like this dead zone for signal. Nothing gets in there. It's also a really tricky spot for cars to get in, but we've managed to kind of find her in the shade, and she's having a really good sleep. She, like pretty much all the leopards we've seen over the course of the last few days, is also sporting a nice kind of rounded tummy, so expect with the kind of leopard of this experience would have been taking advantage of the lambing season, much like all the others have as well. So I think for her, it's about just staying cool. That's probably why she was up in a tree a little bit earlier. It's just making it the most of the breeze that was blowing. And now she's kind of come down, find herself a nice little shady spot, particularly because there was some impalas that were nearby, and I wonder if she didn't spot them from the tree, came down and then was watching them a little bit. There we go. Good afternoon, Thandi. Yes, welcome to this afternoon's drive. She's still so beautiful, even though she's such an, kind of on the, well, I wouldn't say she's such an old leopard, but she's on the older side of her life. She's still so pretty. She's got this very dainty kind of little face to her. Her ears are starting to sport a few kind of nicks and cuts and looking a little bit eroded, but other than that, the rest of her body is in perfect condition. She's still got this kind of beautiful golden colored coat. It's one of the things that I love about her lineage is that they have this kind of typical coloration to them. They all have quite a deep gold color. It's really prominent when you see it in good light when they're out in the open. It's amazing how different their color is to that of the lineage that we saw this morning, which is in Zutini. All the dogs have been busy. So is Thandi. She's up and moving. She's basically walking exactly where she was trying to find those impalas. Which way they went is exactly in this direction. So she's doing a bit of scent marking as she goes, but walking where the impalas have gone and looking for them. I'm kind of hoping, though, that she's going to turn slightly towards Chitwa Dam because there's the most beautiful afternoon light and this open clearing and these little bits of grass where their seed or inflorescences is catching the light, and it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm hoping that's the way that she heads. Also, there'll be a lot more impalas kind of on that open clearing than there would be where we are right now as it's starting to get darker. So you're going to find that the impalas are going to go into the open clearing. She's just sneezing there as she goes, but she's definitely coming the right way now. Bless you, Thandi. What's wrong, girl? Did you get some dust in your nose? Shame. She's also going to have a tough time. There's so many francolins and birds and things that are shouting at her and making a big noise. Now, let's see where she goes from this one. I'm pretty sure she's going to scent mark on this marula, and then I'm interested to see whether she goes kind of south or if she heads straight in a westerly direction. She's going more south. Okay, Marcel, let's get ourselves into position. It's going to be a long... Oh, she's beautiful. You can see she's also quite wary as she goes. Like I was saying to you earlier, this is a kind of divide between three different females at the moment. So Sibui does come here, but not quite as far east as we are at the moment. So Sibui more to kind of the west, and then Kuchava to the south, and then her to the north. But there's definitely an overlap where we are right now, because when I was here 3 weeks ago, we had Kuchava exactly where Thandi is right now, walking around. So there's definitely overlap between those two. And then, like I say, Sibui a little bit from the west. But it's going to... I kind of wonder how it will play out, because obviously Sibui's and Kuchava are much closer in age, and so they're going to compete for a much longer period of time than what Thandi is. Thandi's a much older female, and so her likelihood of competing with these two youngsters for much longer is not great, but she does have the experience on her side to be able to kind of move and manipulate those two as much as she can in order to kind of keep her territory. Also, she's got lots of space to the north. She's not getting too much pressure north of her. A little bit from Nsele, but not much. Okay, you're asking about genetics between African and Indian leopards and whether they are different. So theoretically, leopard, so Indian, Indo-Chinese, African, these leopards all are a leopard, but they've been divided into subspecies because there's slight changes in them due to one, habitat, and two, completely different continents and food availability and all these kinds of things. So they've got slightly different structures. Whether genetically there's a lot of difference between them, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. I haven't read anything that says that they are completely genetically different, and if they were, you'd probably find that they would be made their own species. So like a snow leopard and a clouded leopard are their own. Leopards in general, it's just subspecies that are divided out.